In this video, I want to share 10 profitable trading truths with you that I have come to learn over the last 12 years after I have analyzed over 500,000 trades. So I've been in this very interesting and fortunate situation that because we run the Edgewonk Trading Journal and because constantly our users reach out and ask us to review their data, is that I get to see a lot of different types of traders. Profitable, unprofitable traders, traders who show great success, traders who go from losing to break even to profitable, traders who keeps being stuck in the unprofitable phase for many, many years. And what really surprised me is that there are very specific things that the best traders do differently from the ones that are struggling. And it's also those 10 things keep coming up in every trader's journal. So it's not that you just see it once or twice across hundreds and hundreds of journals. You keep seeing the same things over and over again. So I want to put together this video that really highlights you what the best traders do differently. The first thing that, although a lot of traders might have a feeling, is that exits is what makes you profitable. The losing traders that we see, they obsess about their entries. They have checklists. They have backtested their entries. They have a long list with signals, and they really know what their perfect exit entry is. But beyond the entry, they are completely lost and they don't know what to do. Whereas the profitable traders, they make their money through the right exit. They have perfected their exit. And the exit is really what differentiates the best from the worst traders. The struggling traders, they might have good entries, and we see that. They are very good on entry quality, but they mismanage their trade, and especially they mismanage their exit. And even if you have the best entry method in the world, if you afterwards cut your winners too short, you don't know how to let your winners or your trades run, that's where you ruin your edge. So the first lesson is get away from this entry obsession and really, really dive deep into your exits. The next thing that always comes up in 99% of the journals, and by the way, you can just go to youtube.com/edgewonk and you'll see hundreds of trade reviews, and you will see that this is something that keeps coming up over and over and over. And the second thing is that traders are killed by the low reward to risk ratio. It ties in with the previous point because the reward to risk ratio is obviously determined by your exit. And whereas most traders only obsess about the win rate, and they're always trying to chase a better win rate system, the best traders that we see, that they are really, really obsessed about their reward to risk ratio. And they are looking for small tweaks and improvements. How can they get up their reward to risk ratio? And this is often not even hard. We can see it in the data. We can see it in their journals. Looking for small improvements in their reward to risk ratio, month after month, year after year, is what really is going to drive your performance. It's not about getting 2, 3, 4, 5% more out of your win rate. The best traders excel because they are obsessed about how can they get more out of their winners. The next thing is, and that is something that really surprised me, is that it really doesn't matter what system you trade. We have done probably over the last 12 years 500 to 600 reviews, and I review way more journals that don't make it onto the YouTube channel when traders reach out to us. And what I have seen is that there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different trading strategies. And it doesn't matter what strategy you trade. Traders can be profitable with really any strategy. It's not about finding the right strategy that is suddenly making you money. It is having a strategy that you can follow religiously, that you don't deviate from, that really matches your personal, not only way of thinking, but also your lifestyle. When does it generate trades? What time? How long do you have to hold them? Do you need to hold over the weekend, overnight? Are you comfortable with that or not? So it's not about a specific setup. It's not about going on social media and trying to find someone who tells you this is the ultimate system. It really doesn't matter. It really matters on how you design the system around your personal life circumstances and the way you think about risk and the other parameters. This is universally true for all traders. A lot of traders lose money because they're always watching their trade. As soon as they're in a trade, they're glued to the screen. They watch the trade go into their favor, against them. They watch 5 ticks up, 5 ticks down. They bring their phone, and when they're on the go, they monitor their trades, and they're always fiddling with their trades. The best traders, they don't do that. They have a plan. The plan is determined before they enter. The plan is determined by testing previously, by analyzing their data. They know where their stop goes. They know where their exit is. They know when to add or take off a position. And that is all determined before. They don't micromanage the trades when they're in. They have a very, very clear plan on what to do and when to do it. Whereas the struggling traders, they have no idea what to do beyond the entry. As I said in the beginning, the entry is where they spend 99% of their time. Once they're in a trade, they're completely lost. So once again, focus on what happens after the entry. Analyze your data, audit your system, audit your processes, and see how you best optimally manage and engage with your trades. If you have watched any of the review videos that we do on Edgewonk, this is something that is just fascinating. Every single time we pull up a trading journal, I always go to when is the trader making most of his money on a daily basis. So I look at their trading times from midnight to the end of the day. And what you will see is that the worst traders, the traders that are struggling, they trade around the clock. Whereas the good traders, the best traders, have very, very specific trading times. Typically, it's around a open, Asia, London, New York. Doesn't really matter. But it's usually very well defined. They have a 3 to 5, maybe 6 hour window where they make all of their money, where they make all of their trades, and then they go away. The losing traders, interestingly, also have that. They have this 3 to 5 hour window where they make all of their profits, but then they give it all back by trading around the clock. So it's really interesting to see that it's either the system that works better on some occasions or in specific periods, or it's the trader that can focus best in a specific period. But once you keep trading beyond that, your energy, your concentration goes down, and also the volatility and the price behavior changes in such a way that your system suddenly isn't profitable. So I urge you all, look at your trading data, look at the hours per day, and see what is your 3 to 5 hour window when you make your profits. And then you can just reduce your trading times. You can free up time for something else. You can rest more. You can just recharge more, or you can spend that time in other ways that will benefit your trading or your personal life. Checklists save traders. I am a huge fan of the book Pitbull, Champion Trader by Marty Schwartz. I mentioned it for years and years. And he said that checklists is something that he swears by. And even after decades of being a professional, profitable trader, he still uses checklists every day. And we see it in the best traders. They have checklists. They have very well-defined procedures. The checklists, they guide their decision-making. So there's not a lot of guesswork. There's not a lot of volatility in how they approach their trading on a day-to-day basis. All of their trades, all of their processes look the same. So they know exactly what to do and when to do it. And it's a big, big mindset shift for a lot of traders. Once they get from this impulsive trading approach where they don't really know what to do and then they just impulsively follow their emotions to a very, very process-driven approach. Good traders test ideas. Absolutely true. Good traders might have a setup, maybe 2, maybe 3 setups, but they, even if they're profitable, they're continuously looking into how can I make this better? How can I fine-tune my entry? How can I fine-tune my trade management? How can I get a little bit more out of my winners? Can I apply this to a different market, to a different time frame? How do news affect my my trading. And they are constantly asking those questions about every little detail. They're not randomly changing parameters in their system, but they have a very, very clear approach to testing one thing at a time, seeing if it improves or doesn't improve the approach, and then implement it. It's always one thing at a time, but it's always this curiosity that keeps them innovating and keeps them making improvements and changes. What is really interesting is that traders keep repeating the same mistakes. And traders are very different in that approach. We see that there are many, many different ways how traders can mess up, obviously. Revenge trading, overtrading, changing position sizing, managing trades in an inefficient way, always changing their target approach, listening to traders on social media, you name it. There are probably dozens and dozens or even more ways how traders can break their rules. But on an individual trader-by-trader basis, it's typically 1, 2, maybe 3 things that a specific trader will keep repeating. I would be very interested to hear from you. What is the one thing that you just can't stop repeating? And what is really fascinating is that when you look at the data, traders are often not even aware of what their big problem is, although it's right there in their data. The data shows them, hey, you are always doing X. You are always doing Y. The data shows if you do this, you lose money, no matter what. But the traders are so reluctant to change. And it's really interesting to see that they will just keep up their same problems and they're trying to somehow force their will on the market. What really is important here is that you identify the one thing that is costing you most of your money, that is making you unprofitable or that just causes the largest amount of your losses. And then you try to implement processes. How can you start fixing this? It also helps you to just bring it into your awareness. Once it becomes aware, there's a light that you shine on it, and then you will catch yourself sooner and sooner doing the specific mistake. In the beginning, you might realize it after, I did this again, that I analyzed in my journal. But maybe after 3, 4, 5 weeks, you will start noticing, hey, I just did this. The trade hasn't really turned negative. I better close this now and not risk turning it full against me, against my stop loss. And then you will catch yourself sooner and sooner. And then eventually, hopefully, you catch yourself before you pull the trigger so that you can completely avoid it. It's a process. It's not something that's going to change overnight, but it's something that is really important that you find this one thing that is costing you all of your profits. On the other hand is that the best trades also stand out. It's not really hard when you look at a journal to see what do the best trades have in common. It's usually very, very clear. But traders often don't spend the time and they don't know how to find that. In Edgerong, it's super simple. You tag a trade with specific entry criteria, with specific times, which is done automatically, other custom stats. And then the data clearly shows you, hey, when you take this setup at this time with this condition and you manage it in that way with this specific target, this is your moneymaker. Those are your bread and butter trades. You find those, and then it's often very helpful to just cut out the rest. Cut it out for at least 2 to 3 months and see if you only take your bread and butter trades that make you money, how will this make you feel? You will trade less. Does this make you feel weird when you trade less? A lot of traders, interestingly, have this urge to trade, even though they don't make money. And even if the data shows them that, hey, if you would trade less, you would make money, they still cannot make themselves do it. But if you just see it as a challenge for the next 3 months, let's see how I feel after 3 months of trading significantly less. But let's see how this impacts my performance. And it's really important that you find those trades that make you money. So find the trades that cost you the most, find you the trades that make you the most, and then try to do more of what works and try to do less and bring it to awareness to your awareness what costs you the most. And this is interesting. It's why trading, I think, even when you're profitable, is really hard. Because once you're profitable, it doesn't mean that you're profitable forever. markets change, you change, life situations change, and variance also plays obviously a very big part. We have seen traders who have been profitable for a year and then they just go flat for a year. And then again, the performance picks up. But how do you deal with those plateaus? Are you going to suddenly change everything? Are you going to switch everything? Or maybe have you backtested your approach and you see, hey, this is normal. In my backtest, there are weeks or maybe months even where my performance goes sideways, but it will pick up again. And the traders who make it through those plateaus without changing everything, they still trust in their process, they still audit their approach and their data to see, have I changed? Have I made more mistakes? Has the market changed? Those traders, again, we come back to this curiosity, they are the ones who will make it long term. But it's a very wrong belief and a bad belief to have that once you're profitable, you are profitable forever. You always have to work, you always have to look at the data, you always have to keep innovating, and only then are you able to stay relevant without making the wrong decisions along the way.